What's up YouTube? I hope you're all doing great. Today we want to learn how to set up a kill switch on our guitar. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about different circuits that you might need or you might have. And we also gonna go in depth and see how we should install our kill switch. So before starting anything, we need something like this. This is a push button. You can just press it easily. I just bought it from Amazon for like 10 bucks. It comes in different colors. It's a pack of 10, so you see blue, green, black, whatever. So one thing to keep in mind when you're working with a kill switch, when you want to install a kill switch, is knowing how this switch is going to operate. So we've got two type of switches. A switches which has a default on and a switch which has a default off. Now what does that mean? Basically that means is this switch, the two pods in this switch, the two things, the two wires that we connect to these pods, are they connected by default and will become disconnected when we press the switch? Or it's vice versa. When we connect something to these two pods, or basically these two pods by themselves are disconnected, and when I press the button, now they're connected. Now, based on these two scenarios, you will have two type of circuiting or wiring that you want to use for your guitar. In this case, I'm using a switch which the pods are disconnected by default, and when I press it, now they're connected. Now let's go ahead and see what should we do and how should we wire according to this kind of switch. So it all has to do with your hot output, which goes to your jack, your output jack. So that's the only thing that we're manipulating here. So take a look at this diagram. If this is your output jack, so you got your positive, which is your hot, and this is your negative, which is your ground. So you'll ground, your ground wire will be connected to behind the pods or somewhere which can act as a ground. Now your hot wire or your output will usually go to your pickup selector. Now what we want to do here is we want to do something so we have the ability to cut the connections when we press this thing. Basically by cutting the connections, meaning we want to connect the positive to the negative. This is how you cut the connection. So what we can do is just take an extra wire from our pickup selector, solder it to one of the pods here, one of the legs, and get another wire, an extra wire from one of the grounds on your pods and connect it to the other end. By doing so, when you press this switch connects your positive to your negative and your output is gone. What kill switch basically does is the same. Now we also have another scenario. Looks more simple, but you need a switch which has a default connected situation by default, meaning these two pods are connected internally by default. So when you press, now it's disconnecting these two pods, now these two legs. Now if you have such a switch, then all you need to do is put it in the middle of the connection between your jack, the wire, to your pickup selector. Again, by doing so, when you press this connection here is lost. So again, you're cutting the connection, so there is no sound going out. And as soon as you release the button, the connection is revealed. So this is the second scenario, this is the first scenario, this is what we're going to do today. So without further explanation, let's go ahead and do it. So as you can see, I've opened the lead for the electronic stuff, and you see you need an empty space here, just a small place, so we can actually drill this to the body. And I think this is in a fine place, which happens to be somewhere here. So I'm okay with that. So if your guitar has a better place, so try that. So somewhere here would be fine, and just want to make sure. Yep, it looks fine. Of course you can measure and do something extremely symmetrical, but I really don't care as long as it looks fine. So I'll be installing it. I'll be making a hole somewhere here. So let's go ahead and do it. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, you want to use the fastest speed on your drill, so you won't be chipping woods. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And use a tiny bit drill just to drill out, and then you'll increase the size later. So this is how we're ready to just a tiny little hole, and then step by step, just to avoid any damage to the body, it will increase the size of the bit. So now that you have a relative good size for the hole, you can go ahead and use some thicker bits gradually to get to the size of the actual size of the button. Okay, now that the hole is big enough, I'm going to be using this step beat, look something like this, which goes in and makes the hole larger by itself. So I'm going to use this to make larger hole. Okay, let's see if this fits our purposes. Well, it needs to be a little bit larger. So beautiful. So there it is. So this is how you install the button. So I'm gonna clean this up, and we'll continue after I want to install the electronics. I have this switch installed here. Now all we have to do is just solder two wires. The first one would be this red wire to one of these legs or pods or whatever you want to call them. because this is my output from my pickup switch. The other one is gonna just be soldered behind one of these volume knobs. So as I mentioned in my other videos, when working with electronics elements, color coding is extremely important. So in this case I don't have a red wire, but I have an orange, so I can live with that. Make sure that I have a good connection there. So this will be connected to one of these legs. And then I'll pick up another piece of wire, preferably a dark color. Maybe another ground on one of these knobs. And okay, so this is the installation. Easy, eh? Now, let's try it out. Okay, just a quick demonstration. Can become bucketed easily. Until next video, have a great night guys, or day, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe.